Doc was on talking about his relationship with Daryl. And I think there has been some, sort of discussion about whether or not Doc can overrule Daryl on transactions. So let's play the clip here and we can discuss that.
Relationship with him and Elton and me, we literally talk every day. We're an open book. I love his brain. I just love his brain. I think he's one of the smarter men in team sports, and I really believe that. He has the ability to see trades and see the cap and see maneuvers, not just for now, but for later. That's not me. I can't do that. Right. But what he does well and what we do well is we listen to each other. Daryl has had several trades so far that don't want to do that. And he moves on, and so that's the type of relationship you have to have when you have coach and management. I think it works that way.
Did one of them involve a now former Houston Rocket, Don?
No. That was obviously a big thing, obviously. And as I said after that, I'm glad where we're at right now. Sometimes the best trades you do is the ones you don't do. And I'm hoping that's the case.
All right. So I think some people saw a part of this clip or transcribed part of this clip and effectively thought, does Doc have the ability to overrule Daryl? And is this a big concern, what he said? I do think it is significant that he said, it's not like he overruled the James Harden trade. I think some people just jumped to that immediately because there's a trade that didn't happen. I think Daryl has final say with the roster moves, but it would be foolish and naive and a little reckless of him not to get Doc's input. And if Doc strongly objected to a move that Daryl was thinking of doing, Daryl would have to have a pretty high degree of confidence and certainty that this was right. You can't play that card all the time and maintain a relationship. You can't overrule Doc if he has a strong objection all the time and still maintain that relationship. Does that mean Doc has final say? No, it just means that I think Daryl is mindful of the relationship that he has with his head coach and is going to get his input. And part of that input is if Doc doesn't like it, and it's not like an earth-shattering move that Daryl thinks is going to significantly move them towards it. You don't piss off Doc for a 14th man, is the way you phrased it before the podcast. I think that's true, and I think that's probably more what Doc is talking about.
Yeah, you would hope so, because the reason you hire Daryl Morey is to run the show.
Right.
And I know he is consensus-oriented, as he said, but as we have talked about a million times, you can have a consensus while also entrusting somebody to make the final decision and, basically organize things. So you would hope on, and I would think so too, that on the big moves, such as a Harden trade, if Doc wasn't on board, tough shit.
Yeah. It was a little bit interesting. Doc at the end talking about sometimes the best moves are the ones that don't happen. You wonder if he's just saying that because he wants to keep Ben happy, or if he's saying that because there might have been a part of him that wasn't really super thrilled about coaching James Harden, or is super thrilled about coaching Ben Simmons, which I think I think there's some truth to that. I think he is interested and excited to coach Ben Simmons, but it's interesting which angle he would have been coming from on that last part.
It's hard to tell. Doc is pretty media savvy when it comes to lying, I would say. It's okay. That sometimes he would have to put lipstick on a pig. He's been a part of much tougher situations than almost trading Ben Simmons. So he's been around 20 years, so he's seen everything as an NBA coach. But yeah, you hire Morey to make the big decisions. I will say that this is one of the results of hiring a coach first, then hiring some front office people, then empowering Elton, and then, oh, by the way, here's the person who's going to run all this stuff. Yeah. It's not to say that they aren't navigating that weird order of events fine, but I'm just saying, it is a possibility.
For sure. The Sixers never do things in the right order of operations. It's just for some reason it never happens.
And it's funny. Doc is the person you would worry about it more. You had Elton on day one saying no, Daryl is running things. That is what's happening. Doc, even in some of the other cases, it's been we're all doing this. Yeah. This is all of us. make sure my name is etched on these personnel moves as well. So I would just say, like,
What's Glenn Davis doing?
yeah, let's
Brandon Bass back in our life.
let's give it a little bit of a grain of salt when it comes from his mouth. But it's something to. I certainly think, like, this front office dynamic and how all of these guys work together after coming from entirely different places, and Elton still being here and a couple other of the front office people still being here. It's I'll be interested to see how it plays out, because it's different than how most of these things are put together.